Warning: this documentary contains graphic descriptions of real crimes, violence, and sensitive subject matter involving loss of life. The events portrayed are real and may be disturbing to some viewers.
That's where I dropped, pulled her body out, and rolled it down there, and I heard a secondary roll of noise. That meant she was still rolling.
For nearly 40 years, the deadliest serial killer in American history walked free. He didn't leave notes. He didn't taunt police. He didn't want fame. In fact, most people never even knew he existed. His victims weren't celebrities. They weren't wealthy. They weren't protected. They were women the system didn't look for and didn't miss. While the country obsessed over names like Bundy and Gacy, another killer was moving quietly from city to city, strangling, leaving no evidence, and disappearing before anyone asked questions. When he was finally caught, investigators expected a handful of victims. Instead, he confessed to 93 murders. Not over a lifetime of notoriety, but a lifetime of neglect. This is the story of Samuel Little.
What city did you kill the most in?
Miami and Los Angeles.
How many did you kill in Los Angeles?
Los Angeles, approximately 20.
Samuel Little was born on June 7, 1940, in Reynolds, Georgia. From the beginning, stability was absent from his life. His mother was frequently incarcerated, often for prostitution. His father was largely absent. There was no consistent home, no lasting authority, and no emotional anchor. As a child, Little moved between relatives, foster homes, and juvenile detention facilities. He learned early that people disappeared, rules changed, and nothing was permanent. What formed in place of attachment was detachment.
Little Rock. Tell me what that girl looked like.
Oh man, I loved her. I forget her name. Oh wait, I think it was Ruth.
Okay.
She was a heavy-set, big old yellow girl.
By adolescence, Little had learned how to survive without being noticed. He learned how to drift, how to stay quiet, how to leave quickly. These were not skills learned through intelligence or planning. They were learned through neglect. They would later make him invisible.
Go out there with the people that would be immediately missed. Yeah. And very important to either family or business or somebody.
As an adult, Samuel Little lived almost entirely on the fringes of society. He traveled constantly with no fixed address. Georgia, Florida, California, Texas, Ohio, Mississippi, Arizona, Nevada. He stayed in shelters, abandoned buildings, cheap motels, or wherever temporary refuge existed. He had no job history worth tracking, no long-term relationships, no community ties. When he left a city, no one noticed.
I grabbed her by the legs and pulled her to the water. Mm-hmm. That's the only one that I ever killed by drowning.
Little's victims shared a pattern. They were vulnerable. Many struggled with addiction. Many were unhoused. Many survived through sex work. Many were disconnected from family and support systems. And when they disappeared, they were rarely reported missing. Their absence did not demand answers.
It was like a dirt road.
Okay.
It was like dirt. The grass was growing in the middle between two tracks. When I left her up in that little road up there, on the side of the road, she was like partially concealed by the vegetation. I left her there.
When bodies were found, investigations were brief. Deaths were ruled overdoses, accidents, or natural causes. Strangulation leaves little evidence when it is not specifically examined. Little relied on this. He understood which deaths would never be questioned.
The cornfield back there, I pulled through it, and on the other side of the cornfield was a trash pile. I parked the car facing out where I could see anybody coming in. So I pulled her out of the car. She's too big for me to carry her. So I just pulled her out of the car and laid her on that trash that was lit there.
Samuel Little did not stalk from a distance. He approached women casually in bars, shelters, or on the street. He appeared calm, soft-spoken, unthreatening. Once alone, he attacked. His method was always the same: strangulation, silent, weaponless, invisible. He later admitted he enjoyed watching the life leave his victims.
Down past the let's say limits. So I continued on toward Fort Lauderdale, and I seen a road going off the main road back into the station.
After each murder, Little moved on. No trophies, no messages, no revisits. Just another city, another victim. Between the 1970s and early 2000s, Little was arrested dozens of times. Assault, theft, drug offenses, sexual violence. He was questioned in connection with murders more than once. Cases fell apart. Witnesses vanished. Evidence weakened. Jurisdictions failed to connect. In 1982, Little was arrested in Mississippi for murder. The case collapsed. Charges were dropped. He walked free. Each failure gave him permission to continue. Over decades, bodies appeared in alleys, vacant lots, abandoned buildings, and industrial zones. Some were found days later, some weeks later, some never. Entire cities carried victims whose names were never spoken outside reports. Before modern databases, police relied on proximity. Crimes separated by distance were never linked. Little crossed city lines, county lines, and state lines rapidly. He had no credit cards, no phone records, no digital footprint. He lived outside tracking systems. By the late 1980s and 1990s, Little had likely killed dozens. Still, no task force existed. No profiler tracked him. No alert warned departments. This was not one failure. It was dozens.
Northern Kentucky, the girl that you met in Columbus. So you meet this girl, I guess you're at a strip bar downtown Columbus.
I went on my car, and this white girl come out behind the building. And I'm in my trunk. She walked over to me, say, come on, y'all, can you take me to Miami?
Describe this girl to me. Is she white, black, what she look like?
She was white, blonde hair, dishwater blonde, they go.
In 2012, Samuel Little was arrested in Kentucky for the murder of Mary Brosley. This time, DNA ended the debate. He was convicted and sentenced to life without parole. For the first time, he wasn't leaving. In prison, Little's health declined. Diabetes, heart disease, limited mobility. Then he began to talk. Texas Rangers interviewed him, skeptical at first. Serial killers lie. But Little corrected detectives when they were wrong.
The cornfield.
Accuracy mattered to him. Little began drawing his victims from memory. Faces, hairstyles, expressions. Investigators compared them to cold cases nationwide. Again and again, details matched. 30, 50, 70, eventually 93. And even that number may be incomplete. 93 is not just a number. It represents investigations that never happened. Families without answers. Lives erased quietly. Samuel Little did not outsmart law enforcement. He relied on neglect. His victims existed at the intersection of poverty, race, addiction, and invisibility. Their deaths did not generate urgency. Little did not apologize. He remembered. The murders were the only moments in his life where he felt control. Everything else faded. Samuel Little died in prison on December 30th, 2020. No national reckoning followed, just a death notice and thousands of pages of case files. Samuel Little is remembered as the most prolific serial killer in American history. But this story is not about him. It is about the people who were ignored, the deaths that were dismissed, the lives that mattered, even when no one was watching. Because the most dangerous criminals are not always the ones who announce themselves. Sometimes they survive because society looks away.